Kayleen Davies here with another Thursday's Thought. I hope that you are having a wonderful day. I hope that your week has been awesome. I wanted to share some thoughts from this book, Being Enough. I know I've talked about before about how do you feel about yourself? Do you feel like that you're enough? And sometimes I feel like that we kind of come up a little short, that we aren't good enough. We just can't do everything like we'd like to do, but whatever you can do is enough. As long as you are doing what you can do with the resources that you have right now, that is enough. And in this book, she talks a lot about being enough, but I wanted to share some things. She shares some thoughts about Abraham Lincoln, and I know that you've probably heard this before, but it amazes me every time I reflect on Abraham Lincoln. He was probably one of my most favorite presidents of the United States. He went through a lot, and I'll share a couple of things, but he was consistent. He was persistent. And she says in here, Lincoln certainly had his share of unhappy experiences. Often they plunged him into depression. And maybe you've had some times, I've had some times in my life where I just plunged into depression. And he discovered what to do when he was rejected. So you want some tips from Abraham Lincoln, what to do when you feel like that you're rejected or belittled or attacked. He taught himself to view failures as experiences to learn from instead of being distracted. And he learned to, what is it that I can learn instead of the disasters, instead of thinking about the disasters to be brooded over him. He learned when to stop worrying and move on to something else. And isn't that true? I'm going to grab another paper. Isn't that true? Sometimes we have something happen and we think it's happening to us. We go into victim mode. And maybe one of these days I'll share the victim triangle. If you haven't seen the victim triangle, pretty interesting. maybe I will do a PowerPoint and upload this, but it's easy to say, why me? Why did this happen to me? So as you're thinking of your circumstances that you have been through, or maybe you're going through something right now, think, are you as bad? And it's not in a comparison, but are there some things that you can do? What can I learn from this? There's got to be a silver lining on the other side, right? So Abraham Lincoln, this is starting in 1816. So his family was forced out of their home. He had to work to support them. His mother died. He failed in business in 1831. In 32, he ran for state legislature and lost. In 32 again, he also lost his job, and he wanted to go to law school, but he couldn't get in. In 1833, he borrowed some money from a friend to begin a business, and by the end of the year, he was bankrupt. He spent the next 17 years of his life paying that debt off, and he did pay that off. In 1834, he ran for legislature again, state legislature, and he won. In 35, was encouraged to be married, and then his sweetheart died, and his heart was broken. I mean, he loved her dearly, and his heart was broken. And in 1836, he went into a total nervous breakdown, and he was in bed for 6 months. And a lot of people don't know this. And in 1838, he sought to become a speaker of the state legislature, and he was defeated. In 1840, he sought to become elector, and he was defeated. 1843, he ran for Congress, and he lost. In 46, ran for Congress again. This time he won. And then he went to Washington and did a great job. In 48, he ran for election to Congress and lost. And 49, he sought the job of land officer in his home state, and he was rejected in his own home state. 1854, he ran for Senate of the United States and lost. 56, he sought the vice presidential nomination at his party's national convention, and he got less than 100 votes. Now, I don't know about you, but I would feel pretty devastated, pretty rejected with all of these things from 1816 to 1856. I mean, we're talking 40 years of rejection one after another. He did have some wins. But in 58, he ran for the U.S. Senate again, and he lost. And then in 1860, now what if he would have just quit right then? What if he would have quit in 1858? Because in 1860, 2 years later, he was elected the President of the United States. Now, I don't know about you. I haven't been through that many failures. But there's a lot of people that have been rejected. You know, like the owner of Starbucks Coffee, his first proposal for his first loan was rejected 244 times. Now, how many? He must have had a vision that he wanted to do something good, to be influential. He had something to offer. President Lincoln, before he was president, went through a lot of things, but he picked up himself and kept going. And that is the message today. It doesn't matter how many times we fail, because that's part of life. When we fail, it's like walking. We fall down, we pick ourselves up, and we try again. And it's not about the failure. It's about picking ourselves up, dusting the dust off, and moving forward. So I hope this gives you a little encouragement that if you're feeling down, you're feeling worthless, you're feeling like you're not good enough, well, take a look at Abraham Lincoln and all the things that he went through and all the failures. I don't think you have been through as much as him. Maybe you have. But pick yourself up, and there is a gift. There is a silver lining to the other side of the story. Pick yourself up, and you are enough. Kayleen Davies with another Thursday's Thought. Have a great day.